It is the John Phillips Show. Johnny's on vacation. He'll be back on Monday. It's Randy Wang here. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. 1-800-222-5222. You can email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com and search for the John Phillips Show wherever you get your podcasts. Well, just a few minutes ago, President Donald Trump wrapped up a meeting with Canada's new Prime Minister, Mark Carney, and I'm not really sure exactly what the context was this for. Sometimes Trump just gets into a stream of consciousness. He was talking about cost overruns for some other project. I think it was Obama's library, and it made him think about a big old cost overrun in the state of California. That's right. It's time for the Trumpster to trash high-speed rail.
By the way, nor was in California a little train going from San Francisco to Los Angeles that's being run by Gavin Newsom.
I mean, he's got to.
The governor of California. Did you ever hear of Gavin Newsom? He has got that train.
He asked the PM of the new PM of Canada, have you ever heard of Gavin Newsom?
The governor of California. Did you ever hear of Gavin Newsom? He has got that train is the worst cost overrun I've ever seen.
There's also no train.
It's like totally out of control. So then they said, all right, we won't go into San Francisco. We'll stop 25 miles short.
It's actually a little further than that. Merced is how far away is Merced from San Francisco? Let's do a little Google Maps. So I'm going to type in Merced and Merced, California. And then I'm going to say that my location is beautiful, San Francisco, California. San Francisco to Merced is 130 miles. Oh, this thing is brilliant.
And we won't go into Los Angeles. We'll stop 25 miles short.
Actually, it's going to stop in Wasco. So once again, let's pull up the old Apple Maps here, and let's type in Wasco, California, which is north of Bakersfield. There's a prison there. I'm in Los Angeles, so I think I can just say my location right here from Culver City, that's 136 miles. So if you decide to take the high-speed rail from Wasco to Merced, I don't know how long that trip's going to take, but it will take you 2 hours by car to get to Station A and 2 hours by car from Station B to get to your final destination. The entire length of driving Los Angeles to San Francisco, unless there's terrible traffic, is about 5.5 hours.
It's hundreds of billions of dollars for this stupid project that should have never been built. And then they realized that it would have been a lot less costly if we just gave limousine service back and forth and gave it free. They would have saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
But then all these ex-lawmakers wouldn't have gotten all these incredible consulting deals and all of the people that are on the advisory board and all of the glut, all of the bloat, all of the money that's been wasted. The amount of money that local government wastes on just consultants alone is disgusting. Take, for instance, the L.A. City Council's new idea that they're going to revitalize the L.A. Convention Center because nobody wants to go to downtown L.A. and deal with the hookers on Figueroa for a convention when you can have a convention in Long Beach, you can have a convention in Anaheim, you can have a convention at the Moscone Center in San Francisco. Heck, you can have a convention at San Diego or Vegas. Why would you pick downtown L.A. above any of those? And they've been working on this project for over a decade, and they haven't actually put a shovel in the ground. It's just coming up with plans. And they have spent $50 million on just consultants.
They have airplanes that go there for one 1/100th the cost. And they have cars. They have a thing called the highway that goes back and forth that's not fully utilized. And they got involved with this project. And Gavin, I always liked Gavin.
Oh, now Gavin's getting a turn.
I had a good relationship with him. I just got him a lot of water.
Do you want to go on Gavin's podcast? He's looking for guests.
I just got him a lot of water. I sent in people to open up that water because he refused to do it. And we just got them a lot of water. If they would have had that water, and if they would have done what I said to do, they wouldn't have had the fires in Los Angeles. Those fires would have been put out very quickly. But if you think about it, and
we just had a mayor that was out to lunch. We had a reservoir that was empty, fire hydrants that weren't working. There was a lot of issues going on.
But if you think about it, and you got to take a look at this, it's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. I've watched a lot of stupid people build a lot of stupid things, but that's the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. What's happening between San Francisco and Los Angeles. And you ought to ask about that, because this government is not going to pay. I told our very great new Secretary of Transportation, he's doing a good job, Sean Duffy, I said, we're not going to pay for that thing. It's out of control.
Yeah, so now the latest idea from the CEO, the new CEO, they've gone through several of the High-Speed Rail Authority is, well, maybe we'll look for some private investment and we'll give them their money back with interest, almost like a guaranteed rate of return if people can pay for this thing, so we can keep this going a little longer. Because high-speed rail not only is being threatened to be defunded on the federal level, they need another $7 billion just to stay on track to open Wasco to Merced by 2033, and that ain't happening.
We're not going to pay for that thing. It's out of control. This is something that you don't have things like this. It's not even conceivable. Like 30 times over budget, 30 times. It's the craziest thing and now it's it was supposed to be a simple train. And I think the media should take a look at it. And I'd love him to run for president on the other side.
Oh boy. We're making some news here.
And
Donald Trump endorses Gavin Newsom to run for president.
And I'd love him to run for president on the other side. I'd love to see that. But I don't think he's going to be running, because that one project alone, well, that and the fires and a lot of other things pretty much put him out of the race.
So that was uttered today inside the White House during a meeting about trade and everything with Canada. But hey, anytime we're going to take a shot at Gavin and the high-speed rail, we're going to take it and we're going to air it. Because the high-speed rail, and you know what? There is some truth to be said. Gavin Newsom wants to put himself on the national stage, highlighting one of the biggest failures in the state of California does hinder his ability to connect with voters in places like Iowa and places like South Carolina. Because regardless of policy positions or what he believes in, can Gavin Newsom deliver on his promises? No. Now, the high-speed rail goes back way further than Gavin Newsom being the governor, but Gavin's been in charge for the last 6 years, and Gavin has only doubled down on the high-speed rail while admitting that there are a lot of problems with the high-speed rail that go back to not just things that you can blame on Gavin, on Jerry Brown, on even going back to the Schwarzenegger days, but things you can blame the federal government for back when this thing was passed in 2008. Notably, the Obama administration requiring that if California wanted to get that sweet, sweet federal funding, well, they should start this project in the Central Valley instead of starting it in San Francisco and building it outwards. Maybe the first link could have been connecting San Francisco to the South Bay in a train that a lot of people would use. But no, the reason we started in the Central Valley was because this was a climate initiative to decrease the rate of asthma in places like Fresno and Bakersfield. And here we are, 15 years later. I don't think we've decreased any of the asthma because there still is no train. But let's go for a little deep dive into exactly what the heck has been going on with the high-speed rail. And I want to hear from you at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. The president doesn't want federal funding going for this program. He calls it a joke, massive cost overruns. The train, if we even get the Central Valley part of this finished on time, won't be done until 2033. Do you think it's time to abandon California's high-speed rail? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Get on the phone right now. What do you want to see happen here? Do you want to see us abandon this project, leave all these viaducts sitting there as a testament to California's failures? Should we fix the project, demolish all of it? Do you think we should still be spending time and money on California's high-speed rail in 2025? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. While those calls fold in, let's get a little update on how we got here from ABC 10 in Sacramento.
Well, California has long planned to build a high-speed rail from the Bay Area to Los Angeles with the goal of transporting people across the state in just under 3 hours.
The flight takes 45 minutes. And yes, I understand if you fly to LAX, it's hell. But Burbank is easy.
Voters approve funding.
Long Beach is easy. John Wayne is easy.
Voters approved funding for the project back in 2008. But tonight, as the project continues to face challenges with costs and timelines, lawmakers are questioning its future. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen takes us to the Central Valley, where high-speed rail construction is currently underway.
And one thing that you're going to hear from a lot of lawmakers, the ones that defend this, like Dave Cortese of the San Jose area, is you got to understand it's not so much about rail. It's about economic development. It's about a jobs program. It's about a stimulus. But if the train isn't useful, then who's going to ride it?
We're at the Hanford Viaduct, which is our longest structure actually for the Central Valley. 6,300-foot structure, and it connects into our future high-speed rail Kings Tulare Regional Station.
It's a vision decades in the making. California's controversial high-speed rail project will eventually connect Northern and Southern California.
No, it won't.
And has first brought a new era to the Central Valley. It's where the High-Speed Rail Authority...
It does not connect the Central Valley to Southern California or Northern California. And it doesn't have a plan to or a funding source to do that anytime soon.
It's where the High-Speed Rail Authority is currently constructing...
How exactly is there economic improvement for being able to go from north of Bakersfield to Merced? I mean, what do you get? If you live in Fresno, you're right in the middle of this thing. What do you get out of going to Merced? I do not understand.
It's where the High-Speed Rail Authority is currently constructing track for the bullet train.
So we started this structure in 2020. This is our longest structure.
How much are every single one of the authority's board members paid? How much are the consultants paid? How many people have gotten so rich off of this project because these billions of dollars went somewhere?
So we started this structure in 2020. This is our longest structure for the Central Valley.
This is the Hanford Viaduct, about an hour south of Fresno. High-speed rail officials have a goal of completing this portion and all of construction in the Central Valley by 2026 because eventually this will be an important part of their test track.
Oh, yeah. They haven't even built enough of this thing to start testing the track, and they have to test it for years before it is safe. And I don't know if that's going to happen on time either.
We have to test and do dynamic testing for at least 2 or 3 years before we can start any operations. That's to test for our rolling stock, our track and systems, all of the different maintenance of way facilities that we'll have throughout the valley. All of those things, communications, dispatch, all of the things that you need for an operational train system.
This thing is only going to get messier once we're now starting to actually lay the track. And forget the fact that it took us 15 years to start laying track. It is getting to be a mess. Here we are. It's 2025. High-Speed Rail Authority was created over 20 years ago. The High-Speed Rail Bond was passed in 2008, promising you a train from San Francisco to L.A. in 2020. Do you think it's time to kill this project? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. This morning, President Trump took another shot at California's high-speed rail.
Because this government is not going to pay. I told our very great new Secretary of Transportation, he's doing a good job, Sean Duffy, I said, we're not going to pay for that thing. They are just, it's out of control.
Is it time to abandon California's high-speed rail? 800-222-5222. Let's start with Jeff in Orange County. Jeff, hello.
Hey, Randy, you're doing a great job. Yeah, I worked back in the, I'm retired, but I worked back in the Brown administration, so it's like a fly on the wall when this was all happening. Brown created that train. It was never intended to go to San Francisco. If you look at Madera to Bakersfield, that 99 strip there was dying financially. You had Delano, McFarland, all those little towns were dying. he created that whole thing for jobs, to create jobs to that 99 strip. And that's the whole thing it was intended for. When Brown left office, he told Newsom, go ahead and shut it down. It put a lot of money back in there. And if you go back and you look, Newsom tried to shut that down when he first got into office, and the environmentalists come in and just overwhelmingly attacked him, and he didn't have the political will to shut it down. So he's kept it going, and now if you look from Wasco to Madera, there's nothing there. So what he's doing again is just creating jobs. That train's never going to be completed because it can't get over the mountains. You can't get a train through there, and it's cheaper to fly Southwest for $49 to San Francisco. Unfortunately, in California, we don't have a press or any kind of investigative reporters to dig into that and look at that. So that's what they're doing. They're just throwing billions of dollars to create jobs in all these little towns that are dying in California to keep them going. And that's what's going on, but you can't get anyone to look at it in this state because it's a one-party state.
But that's the thing. Gavin Newsom defines success and how much money he spent on something and how many jobs he's created. It doesn't matter if they've ever built a thing. They're literally now just saying, think of it not as a train, but as a stimulus. And that's not exactly what was sold to the voters. Jeff, thank you so much for that insight. I really appreciate it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Rob in San Jose. Rob, hello.
Hey, Randy. I think it also is the utopian sort of dynamic of, everyone living off a train corridor, and, of course, the high-speed rail. You see it around here with the light rail in San Jose. They built some really lousy-looking high-density recently at the corner of Bascom and Stokes and downtown San Jose. Buildings you would not think to live in. They look all glass and all glazed gray or that blue-gray. You don't feel like even ever leasing from there. They want to put all these footprints down. And, of course, it's that dream, like we should be all living in high density along these railway corridors. And, some of the technology works, but they overplay it. They even surrounded the Winchester Mystery House with a stack and a pack scenario outside of Santana Row, which was supposed to be a nice dog park. And they relocated all these people in the mobile homes.
Oh, yeah. No, you're totally right. And, Rob, they want to pack everyone into this high-density housing, whether you like it or not, and that's the only thing we incentivize. And some people don't want to live near a bus stop. Thank you so much for the call, Rob. Appreciate it. We're taking your phone calls at 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. This morning, President Trump took a shot at California's high-speed rail.
By the way, nor was in California a little train going from San Francisco to Los Angeles that's being run by Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. Did you ever hear of Gavin Newsom? That train is the worst cost overrun I've ever seen. It's like totally out of control. So
the high-speed rail needs $7 billion more just to continue its progress to finish Wasco to Merced by 2033. Is it time to abandon this project? 800-222-5222, 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Steve in Sonoma. Steve, hello.
Hey, Randy, great job. Hey, yes. We're going to abandon this. This guy is going to hit the taxpayers to foot the bill, and that's so irresponsible. I have some backstories about this guy when he was in San Francisco that I'm not going to say now. But he also came into office, I think, and you can correct me, I think we were $50 billion or ahead, and then now we're in this huge deficit of something like $150 billion. So yes, get rid of that. It's all going to fall back on the Californians. And it's such a shame that we have such a highly irresponsible man running this state. Anyway, yes, abandon it.
Well, and to your point, Steve, when you talk about this going to the taxpayers, not only did we put out the initial bond, but California's high-speed rail currently is funded every year by 25% of all the cap-and-trade fees, which directly impacts the cost of gasoline. So if you want to know why the cost of gas is so expensive, it's because for 15 years it's been used to pay for this train to nowhere.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, there's another thing. This is what I'm saying. I cannot understand. Well, when we had the recall, I thought for sure we could get rid of this guy. I was surprised that we didn't. And I wonder if it was truly legally counted. But That's my opinion. Anyway, yes, I think we need to get rid of it. And thanks for that information. And another thing, I think all of us out here in California listening to this need to remember this and know about this. And when he wants to run for president, I mean, we've got to be firm on this and just point out these things. Because why these guys got elected, well, I do know why. But anyway, that's it.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for the call. Call us anytime, buddy. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to a different Steve. Steve in Palo Alto. Steve, hello.
Hello. Yes, great topic. And I was just thinking back to how long it took to replace the Bay Bridge. It was 24 damn years for them to put up that new Bay Bridge and all the delays. And it's just fantastic when you think about it. And you know it was total corruption.
And isn't it fascinating that the original Golden Gate Bridge only took 4 years to build?
There you go.
But now we have
amazing.
process among process, and we've got bureaucracy on top of bureaucracy, and we've got consultants and everyone else getting rich of this stuff, and we can't get anything built on time.
Not at all. And also remember the structure that collapsed, the freeway that collapsed over there. They were involved in so-called environmental studies on that damn thing just for 1 mile of replacement, and it was years.
You're totally right, Steve. Thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Is it time to abandon California's high-speed rail? Let's go to Tom in Morgan Hill. Tom, hello.
Hello. Hey, Randy. I just wanted to talk to you guys about the California lakes. I know you guys talk about the train, but at the California lakes, there's the invasive mussel problem, and they're not letting people get on the lake unless you show up and 30 days in advance, get a tag, put on your boat, leave, and then come back. So families are getting blindsided on their trips and get to the lake and have to turn around and go home. So I wanted to see what you knew about that, because we're already paying for the California mussel stickers to get on the lake, and it's like we're being denied at New Maloney's, Lake Berryessa, Lake Comanche's banned jet skis, and now there's no alcohol out at the campsites or on the boats. So I just kind of want to see what's going on there.
Well, it's the first I've heard about it, so we'll definitely investigate it, but I find it fascinating that in a time when the state is desperate for tourism because international tourism is down, that they do something like that to screw over interstate tourism. But we'll look into that, Tom. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Luke in Northern California. Luke, hello.
Hello. I was just looking at the board of directors here. And it looks like it's all attorneys and developers and partners in construction. And so we know that the money is being fraudulently wasted by all these different special interests, the attorneys especially. And I see that, China Basin was a railroad yard owned by the BNSF Railway and changed to a huge real estate, largest private landowner in California called Catalyst. Those guys, they had to shut down the redevelopment agency because there were so many attorneys involved that there wasn't any money going from the redevelopment agency back into the development of these projects. But the China Basin project was Catalyst building UCSF as partners, and they're still going on down there. They built the ballpark. They built the Chase Center. All this stuff is money funneled to these special interests. And then, has there ever been an audit to where all this money's going?
No, that's the last thing they want to do. They don't want to show you how the money is spent, whether it's high-speed rail, whether it's homelessness, or any of these other projects where there's billions and billions of dollars going out the window sometimes, and there's not even a real respectable bidding process. It's, if you're friends with people in high places, you're going to get those contracts whether you deliver or not. Luke, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Robert in San Pedro. Robert, hello.
Yeah. How you doing, Randy?
Doing great.
Well, all right. It's not going to happen. It's not going to finish. And Gavin Newsom can deliver on this as well as any man can deliver a child, give birth to one. It's not going to happen. So, Randy, you have yourself a great day. And thank you very much for giving me your time.
Thank you so much for the call, Robert. Appreciate it. Let's go to Hector in Southgate. Hector, hello.
Yes, thank you, Randy. No, I just want to say they need to end that.
That's a big waste of money. We need that money. We could use that money for the veterans, you know. And that Gavin Newsom, he's got to go. He's going to go down in history as one of the worst governors. I knew he was going to be no good the minute he came in and he put a moratorium on the death penalty. He's got to go. Oh, and also Japan, they have a high-speed rail, and it was built in 5 years.
And that was back in the 1960s.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much for the call, Hector. Appreciate it. Didn't we have Japanese consultants that were working with the high-speed rail, and they left and said, no, we're going to go to Morocco? And then they built a high-speed rail there in about 5 years. Steve Hilton told that story in his governorship kickoff party, but it's pretty great. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number. Let's go to Elliot listening in San Jose. Elliot, hello.
Hi, how are you doing? So I have a different opinion. We need to build a high-speed rail because I cannot take the train because I have all my tools in my car. I'm a contractor, and I can't, get on the train with all my tools. So all the people going to offices, you're not carrying anything. You can take the train, and you'll free up traffic. And what we need to do is Elon Musk needs to get in there with Doge and get rid of all the bureaucracy and all that nonsense and just streamline it. Like you said, the guy from Japan could do it for in a year. Let them do it. Outsource it and get it done efficiently and not waste all our taxpayer money.
Elliot, is it just a little infuriating that they, through short-sighted ideals of climate nonsense, that they said, okay, we're going to start this thing in the middle and build out, when if they would have started just connecting San Francisco to San Jose, they could have had something to show for this many years ago. But that part of the project's never going to happen now.
Yeah, well, I think one of the issues is don't focus on the climate change. I'm focused on my daily life getting stuck in traffic for 2 hours every day. That's what bothers me. So if you can commute on a train and not waste traffic, not waste time and sit in traffic for 2 hours, you're saving. You're saving gas too. It's more efficient for you. You can sit, do your work on the train. You can, it's easier for you. But for me, people like me, contractors, I can't do that. I can't put all my tools. I can't bring a big cart with me with all my all my tools I need on a train. So, and then the other thing that Gavin Newsom did, I don't know if you probably remember this a few years ago, they took him over $1 million to build a toilet in San Francisco. That's how crazy Gavin Newsom is. You could have done that yourself for $100,000 or even $50,000, but it's all the bureaucracy and environmental review and all this nonsense. It's just crazy how inefficient everything is. And Elon Musk needs to get in there after he's done with the federal government. He needs to go state by state and just, who knows how much money we're wasting all this nonsense.
On so many things. The budget of California is so huge, and what are we getting for all of that money? Elliot, thank you so much for the call, buddy. Appreciate it. 800-222-5222 is the telephone number, 1-800-222-5222. The president took a shot at California's high-speed rail today, and Gavin Newsom.
Because this government is not going to pay. I told our very great new Secretary of Transportation, he's doing a good job, Sean Duffy, I said, we're not going to pay for that thing. They are it's out of control.
Is it time to bail on high-speed rail? Oh, crap, that rhymed. It's Randy Wang here. Let's go back to the phones on if it's time to get rid of high-speed rail. Let's start with Ken in San Jose. Ken, hello.
Hi, I have a question from the engineering standpoint. You said it was hard or impossible to get the train over the mountains. That's why they were concentrating in the valley. Can you explain that a little bit?
Well, the Tehachapi Mountains in between the Bakersfield area and Los Angeles is terrain that they have still, to this day, 15 years later, have not figured out a plan for, whether it's putting grades that have to go up higher, which would slow down the speed, or tunneling through, which would be incredibly dangerous because that's the San Andreas Fault. So they don't really have a solution for that. So there really is no plan to connect the Central Valley to Southern California at any point.
Well, in that case, besides all the other factors, it should be abandoned. Yeah, wow, tough deal.
Thanks so much for the call, Ken. Appreciate it. Let's go to Mark in the Bay Area. Mark, hello.
Hello, yes. I have been a train fan since I was a child. The high-speed rail, when it was first announced, is a copycat of the San Joaquin line that goes from the Bay Area and Sacramento all the way to Bakersfield. And why are we doubling up something we already have when we could just extend that line into L.A.?
There are so
that
many.
was really silly back then.
It's interesting, right? We didn't want to extend any of the lines that we have. We didn't want to electrify any of the Amtrak lines that we have. We wanted to build something new from scratch because it's the way to spend the most amount of money.
Sounds like a lot of California to me.
I think you're right, Mark. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Gina in Campbell. Gina, hello.
Hi there. Hi there. You know, I want to thank everybody that's calling in. It gives me courage. When I hear all these people that are standing for what is right and that are making their voice being heard, I just love it, love it, love it. As far as Donald Trump is concerned, I'm so glad he mentioned it. We almost forgot. And Newsom is on a wooden path. That's what we say in Europe. I'm originally from there. And in Europe, you know, they have the train story really figured out. But we don't need that train. We have a lot of things we can spend that money on. And I totally hear Donald Trump. We need to be wise. We need to invest our money properly, and we need to not double do anything. We need to just do the right thing. Okay, and so that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to comment that I'm against the train. It's a stupid investment, period. Thank you so much.
Gina, thanks so much for calling. Call us anytime. 800-222-5222. Let's go to Andy in Lake Forest. Andy, hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
Real quick, I'll mess this up, but anyways, I've never heard any analysis of like how many people would ride it, what it's going to be a cost per rider. The other thing is that Newsom, when he got reelected the one time, he was like kind of implying before the election, like, oh, I'll take a serious look at it. You know, I'll think about canceling it. And of course he was bluffing, and it's probably going to be obsolete when they get it done because there's going to be all kinds of other transportation things. The consultants got all the money. They should have if they would have taken that money and given it to education, it would have helped out so much more. My wife teaches. She's got 32 to 34 first graders in the class. It's a total waste of time, and all the consultants got the money, and they've just spent it all. They're all rich off it, and that's all.
That's the thing. So many people have gotten rich off of this thing, and we have nothing to show for it. Andy, thank you so much for the call. And you're so right, too. We've never been told what the estimated ridership's going to be, especially with the leg that they're working on. And nobody's even talked about how much this will cost. Even just the initial estimates of the other train, the one that's privately funded, that's going to go from the Victorville area to Las Vegas, the initial costs for that one make it so it would cost way more than a flight. And that's a half-hour flight. A great flight, too. Let's go to Chris in Fremont. Chris, hello.
Hey, hi, Randy. I got a great idea. Why don't we take the wasted money, if there's anything left, the rest of it's washed under the bridge, why don't we take that what's left and make a Autobahn made out of dirt road?
There you go. Go as fast as you want. Get that stuff skidding in the sky.
And we'll have some fun and get some relief on the stress of the streets anyway on top of it. It's a win-win.
Love it. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Joe in Alameda. Joe, hello.
Yeah, you know what? Check this out. Our roads are crap. Our tax on gas is, 70, 80 cents? And where's all this money going?
You're totally right.
Where is it going?
It's going toward...
Whose pocket is getting... Whose wallet is getting bigger? Because the damn sure ain't mine.
I could say the exact same thing, Joe, and that's the thing. They don't want an audit for where this money is spent because it's completely corrupt like so many other programs in the state. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Let's go to Doc in Sonoma. Doc, hello.
Hello, Randy. Number one, Newsom's got the money. He bought that winery over in Napa, and he's got his place on a Tiburon for $11 million. Anyway, who's the brainiac that thought of putting a 200-mile-an-hour train on the San Andreas Fault? There's no chance for a problem there, huh?
I think they envisioned that by the time they actually got to building that, they'd figure out a way around it, and they haven't. And there's no way to safely go up and down around those mountains at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, put it on springs or what? In case the earth shakes 26 feet over or whatever? I mean, that's nuts.
Yeah, and good luck getting anyone to sign off on drilling in those Tehachapi Mountains. Thanks for the call, Doc. Appreciate it. Let's go to Bill in San Jose. Bill, hello.
Hey, Randy, a lot of people don't realize that they did complete one phase from San Francisco to San Jose, they actually electrified all the train line between that area, and that was one of their accomplishments this year.
That's incredible. They should have started on that one 15 years ago and then work out from San Jose to the Central Valley. But they decided instead, because the Obama administration told them you need to deal something with the asthma in Fresno, start in the middle and build outward. Thanks so much for the call, Bill. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for the calls, everyone. I'm sure we will revisit this topic very soon. This is The John Phillips Show.